Do you like it hardcore or softcore? Science fiction. I'm talking about science fiction. I want to continue doing a series of various science fiction genres like I did with solar punk, which you can see up here. But before we get into the subgenres, we really need to define the most basic division of science fiction: hard and soft. Science fiction. Who am I? I'm the booktube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. Are you ready to delve into the wild and crazy world of science fiction? Well, let's strap on our helmets. Let's strap on our space helmets and blast off into the cosmos. Now, before we can even begin to understand the difference between hard science fiction and soft science fiction, we need to answer the question, what is science fiction? At its core, science fiction is a genre that explores the unknown and the fantastical, wait for it, using scientific concepts and theories as a basis for its speculative imaginings. So, what sets hard science fiction apart from its softer counterpart? Well, my darlings, hard science fiction is all about accuracy and plausibility. These stories are grounded in real scientific concepts and theories and aim to portray a realistic depiction of the future or an alternate reality. Think The Martian by Andy Weir, which takes place in a not too distant future where humans have already colonized Mars. The author did his research and presented a realistic, scientifically accurate portrayal of what life on Mars might look like. On the other hand, soft science fiction is a bit more, well, flexible. These stories are more concerned with exploring the human condition and societal issues, and often take place in fantastical worlds that are only loosely based on real scientific concepts. Take Star Wars, for example, where it's set in space and involves futuristic technology, but the science behind the Force and lightsabers is never fully explained or explored. Soft science fiction is more concerned with the characters and their journeys rather than the scientific accuracy of the world they inhabit. Another difference between hard science fiction and soft science fiction lies in the focus of the storytelling. Hard science fiction is focused on exploring scientific concepts and theories, while soft science fiction is more concerned with exploring human behavior and relationships. Let's look at 3 more common differences. One is scientific accuracy. Hard science fiction is grounded in scientific fact and relies heavily on research and attention to detail. Soft science fiction, on the other hand, may use scientific concepts as a backdrop for exploring human behavior and relationships, but it is not as concerned with scientific accuracy. Number 2 is an emphasis on plot versus character. This is very generalized, but hard science fiction tends to emphasize plot over character development, while soft science fiction tends to prioritize character development over plot. This is because soft science fiction is more concerned with exploring the psychology and relationships of the characters, while hard science fiction is more concerned with exploring the implications of scientific theories. And finally, there is the use of jargon. Hard science fiction often uses technical jargon and scientific concepts that may be difficult for readers to understand, but are always are almost always based on some actual or extrapolated scientific theory. The science could be physics, engineering, biology, and so on. Soft science fiction, on the other hand, tends to use more accessible language and is generally easier to understand for readers. When it comes to hard science fiction, you can't go wrong with the classic works of Arthur C. Clarke like Childhood's End or Rendezvous with Rama, or how about Adrian Tchaikovsky? The Final Architect series delves deep into theories of hyperspace, among other things. Another great example is The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton, which takes a scientific approach to exploring the potential consequences of contact with extraterrestrial life. On the other hand, when it comes to soft science fiction, there are plenty of iconic examples to choose from. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams is a hilarious romp through space that is more concerned with humor and satire than scientific accuracy. And of course, I mentioned Star Wars, which is the ultimate example of soft science fiction. It's more about the Jedi Knights and the battle between good and evil than it is about scientific principles behind the Force or whatever. But one of the most famous examples of soft science fiction is Ursula K. Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness. The novel explores the idea of a genderless society and uses this concept as a way of examining the nature of gender, sexuality, and power. While the novel uses some scientific concepts to explore these themes, it is primarily focused on the characters and their relationships with one another. Why should it matter to you? Well, understanding the difference between hard science fiction and soft science fiction can be if you're looking for a particular type of reading experience. If you are interested in exploring scientific concepts and theories in detail, then hard science fiction may be the subgenre for you. On the other hand, if you're more interested in exploring the human side of science fiction, then soft science fiction may be more your speed. But of course, many science fiction stories incorporate elements of both hard and soft science fiction. In fact, some of the most successful science fiction works use a combination of both subgenres to create a rich and complex world that explores both scientific concepts and human relationships. Take Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. It incorporates elements of both hard and soft science fiction. The series explores scientific concepts such as psychohistory and robotics, but it also explores the psychological and social implications of these concepts on the characters in the story. So there you have it. Hard science fiction is focused on exploring scientific concepts and theories, while soft science fiction is more concerned with exploring human behavior and relationships. This is admittedly a very general and at times somewhat fuzzy division of science fiction, but if you read enough science fiction, you can generally categorize most things you read in one camp or the other. Let me know down in the comments whether you prefer it hard or soft. And yes, I'm still talking about science fiction. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.